Ever wondered what laying a bet actually means? If you're new to match betting, laying a bet can be one of the most confusing things to wrap your head around, but it's one of the most important things to understand in order to make consistent profits. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly what laying is and how it works in matched betting. So what does laying a bet actually mean? Laying a bet essentially means betting against something happening. So if we laid against Arsenal to win, if Arsenal drew or lost the match, then our lay would win and our lay would pay out. In match betting, we use a lay in combination with a back bet. A back bet is just a normal bet on a bookmaker, for example, Arsenal to win. So with match betting, we have one side the back bet, for example, Arsenal to win, and the other side the lay bet, Arsenal not to win. That includes a draw or a loss. This is how we cover both sides. We can then use things like free bets and other promotions and odds boosts to make money. But we're not interested in that bit here, we're just interested in how laying actually works. So how is a lay bet actually different to a back bet? Now there's a number of differences between lay bets and back bets. A lay bet is not the same as a back bet, so it's not the same as putting £10 on Arsenal to win. If Arsenal do win, I make money. If they don't win, I lose my £10. It's not the same. The main principle of a lay bet is if we stake £10 on a lay, if our lay wins, so for example, if Arsenal did draw or lose the match, we'd make that £10. But the main difference is if that lay loses and Arsenal end up winning the match, thereby our lay would lose, we don't lose £10 like a normal back bet on a bookmaker. We lose our liability. The amount of liability that a lay takes is proportional to the odds. So if the odds are extremely high for the lay, then the liability will also be really high. If the odds are really low for the lay, then our liability will be really low. If the odds are lower than 2.0, then the liability will actually be less than the stake. But if the odds are higher than 2.0, our liability will be higher than the stake. So in theory, we can lose more than we've staked, if that kind of makes sense. It is really hard to get your head around. So to better help me explain liability, I've got an example. Man City are playing Watford tonight in the EFL Cup. The odds for Man City to win are extremely low and the odds for Watford to win are extremely high. The lay odds on Man City are 1.15, which is extremely low, a lot lower than 2. So for example, if we stake £10 on the lay for Man City to win at odds of 1.15, our liability is £1.50, and it's extremely low. If you think about it, that does make sense because there's extremely high chance of Man City winning, so therefore our liability is extremely low. So we won't really lose too much if they do win. On the other hand, the lay odds for Watford are 27, which is extremely high. And if we typed in a £10 stake on lay odds of 27, our liability would be £260. So that's extremely high for a £10 stake. And again, if you think about it, this does make sense because the chances of Watford winning the match, which is the only way our lay would lose, we're laying against Watford to win, so we're basically betting on Watford to draw or lose the match, which is pretty likely if you think about it. They're playing Man City, they're a really strong team. Watford are in the Championship, they're really not a stronger team. So it does make sense because if you think about it, if there was no liability or the liability was really low, everyone would basically just be laying Watford to win and not really losing anything. Like that would just be an infinite money glitch basically. Like if I could lay Watford for £10 and the liability was only like the Man City one, £1.50, I would stake all my money on that because that's really good. Another way people have sort of described it is you're acting as the bookmaker. If you don't understand this fully, do not worry, it's really confusing and it does take a while to get your head around it and for everything just to click into place. And one day, if you keep going, it will just click into place and you'll understand it. It's just about practice as well. And this is why when you're doing free bets, if your odds are higher, your liability is going to be higher, so you need that money in your markets. So for example, on the Watford one, if I wanted to stake £10 on the lay for Watford to win, I would need £260 in my markets balance in order to place that. It wouldn't let me place it if I didn't have that money, and that is important to know. So always check you have enough money to cover your liability before you place anything on the bookmaker side, so you know you can be covered. It's important with doing things like free bets. So we've gone through what a lay bet actually is and what liability is. So in short, liability is the money that you put up to lose if your lay bet were to lose. Now let's go on to how to place a lay bet on an exchange. I'm sure you're aware there's loads of different betting exchanges. You've got your Smarkets, Betfair Exchange, Matchbook, BetDAQ. There's loads of exchanges to choose from and they all have pretty similar interfaces on how to lay bets. So for example, if I show you how to lay a bet on the Man City versus Watford game, the lay is always on the right hand side of the exchange and on Smarkets it's blue. On different exchanges it might be slightly different colours. I think on Matchbook it's actually red, but it will either say lay if you click on it, or it will say sell. You're on the sell side when you're laying. A normal back bet is on the buy side. So you can also back on these exchanges, but we only really use them for laying, so selling. When you type in your stake that you want to set, which you've worked out from your match betting calculator, it will also tells you the liability underneath where it says place trade. So here for the Man City bet, laying Man City, the liability is £1.50. So now you know what a lay bet is, you know what a liability is, and you know how to place a lay bet on an exchange. Here's some common mistakes people make when laying things. First of all is not inputting the correct stake amount. When, for example, you're doing your sign-up offers, bet £10, get £30 in free bets, which is the Bet365 sign-up offer. There's loads of other sign-up offers. I've made a whole nother video on that, so please watch that if you're interested in making money through sign-up offers. For example, with our qualifying bet, we need to bet £10 on Bet365. This doesn't mean that we need to stake £10 on the lay, because normally the lay odds are slightly higher than our back odds. Therefore, we need to use a match betting calculator to work out our stake. And now normally with a qualifying bet, it would be around a 40p loss, so our stake would be around sort of £9.60. But yeah, you need to make sure you work out using a calculator what your stake should be. The same goes for the free bets. You need to work out exactly what your stake will be. So this ensures that whatever happens, you're going to make the same amount of profit. If you did, for example, when you're doing a sign-up bet, stake £10 on both sides. If the bookmaker bet lost, then yeah, you'd make £10 on your exchange and you'd just break even. But if the bookmaker bet did actually win, our liability would be higher on the lay because we put a higher stake than we were supposed to, and that would incur a higher loss than we would want. Another common mistake is not accounting for exchange commissions. Now, there are various offers on exchanges where if you sign up, you can get a certain amount of time commission free. For example, with Smarkets, if you use code COMFREE, then you get 60 days commission free. Now, if you're on a bookmaker that doesn't offer one of these promotions, then you need to check what your commission will be. Chances are you'll probably be on 2% commissions. For example, Betfair Exchange, if you can change it to be on 2% commissions. Similarly with Smarkets, if you've gone past the 60 days commission free, you'll probably be on 2%, but you need to check. And if you are on 2% commissions, you need to make sure you put that into your calculator on the lay section, lay commissions 2%. And that will change your stakes slightly. You're still not going to lose any money, you're still going to be making money, it's just you need to change your stakes slightly to deal with the commissions. And yeah, I think that's really my 2 cents on what laying is. I hope it's starting to make sense. Again, if not, don't worry, it did take me a while to sort of get my head around it. But yeah, in short, laying is not the same as a normal bet. You have something called liability, and you can actually end up losing more than you stake, or you can end up losing less than you stake, as opposed to a back bet where you just lose your stake. Yeah, I think if you really get your head around this, it really sets you up to be really comfortable with match betting, and that ultimately enables you to make some great profits in the long term. If there's any other concepts you'd like me to explain in a video like this, then please just let me know, and thank you for watching. So, see ya.